Hey there, wizards. How's it going? Are you just arriving here at the Leaky Cauldron? Then, don't be a muggle. Subscribe. Turn on notifications so you can stay up to date with everything. Remember, you can join the channel to access exclusive benefits, like the badges by your name or emojis for comments. You can also contribute with the thanks button. That way, your comment stands out among the others, or you can send your question to Potterverse, which I answer in a video here on Caldeiraofurado. Today we're doing a Potterverse episode. It's been a while, right? I did the one with 100 questions, then took a break. It's so you'll miss it and feel nostalgic, right? Everything we like has to make us miss it a bit, don't you think? No? You want Potterverse every week? No way. You need to miss it first. Let's start with our first question from _Bell_3. Hi Kako, how are you? I'm good. How about you? Can an Animagus speak or use magic while transformed? And lastly, can an Animagus in human form, if they want, transform just a part of their body? For example, turn their hands and nails into paws and claws? Very cool question, but there is no evidence of an Animagus speaking while transformed into their animal form. So we can't know if it's impossible or if we've just never seen it. About performing magic while in animal form, it's the same principle. We don't know if it's possible. Returning to human form is a spell, right? But becoming an Animagus requires a whole preparation process, correct? Whenever you change into an animal and back to human, you're casting a transfiguration spell, intentionally or not. But with Animagi, I'm not sure that's the limit. We actually have no confirmation. And about transforming only some parts of the body, maybe it's possible. Based on Victor Crumb, who transformed half of himself into a shark, though he wasn't an Animagus. That wasn't an Animagus case. But we see that it's possible to partially transform, so I don't know if that applies to Animagi as well. Well, that's good, right? None of the 3 parts of your question have an answer. Great start. The next question is from Hyago Alankar. Hypothetically, how do you think the wizarding world and Hogwarts would deal with the technological boom we've had since the 90s? Teenagers and children, especially those born to muggles, are increasingly addicted to cell phones and social media due to constant exposure to these technologies. What a cool question. Man, honestly, I think muggle-born children could definitely have that kind of contact. But from the moment they find out they're witches, and that they're going to attend Hogwarts or any other school, right? In that case, I believe that interest ends up decreasing. Unless it's someone who says something like, "Hey, I'm not ending relationships with people from before I learned I was a witch. I'm muggle-born and have muggle friends." So maybe the person just has and uses a cell phone. Everything must follow the rules. You can't just tell people you're a wizard. But technology doesn't work at Hogwarts. In the wizarding world, such technologies fail due to protective spells. During Harry Potter's time, wizards like Mr. Weasley were already interested in Muggle technology. He doesn't really get it, but he's always tinkering and taking things apart. So, I believe that most wizards ignore the technological boom because, for them, it's simply nothing that magic can't already do. For teenagers, especially those born to muggles, it may be attractive but not essential. Imagine a wizard social network. That would be cool. Next is a question from Sylvia Rojas. When Tonks gets pregnant, Lupin fears their child could be a werewolf like him. Is that possible? Is lycanthropy only spread by a bite? Yes, it's only transmitted this way. Lupin gets scared. He gets worried because he didn't know of any other werewolf like him who had a child. Because usually, people who suffer from lycanthropy are so marginalized, so excluded, that they end up being lonely, all alone. So that's why he was so afraid. He didn't know what could happen. The next question is from Melzina Gameplays. Was Fantastic Beasts abandoned? What ending do you expect for the franchise? Now, you've touched on a sensitive point here. Look, I don't know what name we can give to this, but since 2022, which was when the last movie came out, no one has ever said anything about it again. And when I say no one, I'm talking about the studio, Warner, and the author J.K. Rowling. By the way, the author J.K. Rowling, she stopped mentioning Fantastic Beasts while it was still being made, which already felt like abandonment to me. What about you? Honestly, I would like to believe that it wasn't abandoned, that there is a plan, like, wow, one day we're going to come back with Fantastic Beasts. But from what it looks like, it seems they put it aside and left it in that forgotten drawer where we throw a bunch of junk, you know? Which is really unfair, because I would really like to see the continuation and the ending of the story, as was promised. The next question is from Fernando Cardoso. Hi, Kako. How are you? I'm good. How about you? My question is this. Did Snape make the unbreakable vow before or after agreeing to the plan to kill Dumbledore? I was reading Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, and just a few weeks separate the end of Order of the Phoenix from the start of Half-Blood Prince. So, I thought everything happened really fast. Big hug. Big hug, Fernando. Oh, it was Fernando Cardoso. I said Fernanda, right? Sorry, Fernando. Everything happens quickly and close together within the same month. Draco begins his Death Eater duties. Snape learns of the plan and helps Dumbledore, attempting to save him by containing the ring's curse. So, the unbreakable vow comes after he has accepted the plan to kill Dumbledore. The next question is from Alvaro Balbi. Hey, Kako, how are you? I'm good. How about you? I'm a big fan of vampire stories and cultures. Can you talk more about the vampires in Harry Potter? Do they tend to be evil? Did any of them ally with Voldemort? Does a human need to be a wizard to be turned into a vampire? We know little about vampires in Harry Potter. What I can tell you is that when the author put vampires into the story, she didn't want to change much from the classic vampires, from folklore, because they were already very well established, very well known in stories, so they pretty much follow the same reality as the stories they already exist in. So yes, vampires are bloodthirsty and evil, at least for the most part. There are exceptions. And probably, to be turned into a vampire, you need to be a wizard, just like with werewolves. But we don't have confirmation of that. I can even do some in-depth research later to try to make an episode just about vampires. But I don't remember if there's confirmation that to become a vampire, you need to be a wizard, you know? Or if a muggle could be transformed. I know that, with werewolves, muggles don't survive the attack. That's a bit controversial, since Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them says muggles can also be werewolves, right?
The books say they can't, so I'm not sure if that includes vampires, but I think it does.
The next question is from Luca, a proud Hufflepuff. Kako, I've seen videos of you talking about what you liked and didn't like in the movies compared to the books.
Now that we're going to have the series, and the producers said they would make it more faithful to the books.
What do you think would be cool to keep in the series from what we have in the movies? So, we're going to have the series. They said the goal was to be faithful, but we've already noticed some small changes, right?
For example, Severus Snape, who will be played by a black actor instead of a white actor, and he'll look different from how he's described in the books.
But what would I like to see kept from the movies?
Well, I think Sirius Black's tattoos are a really cool addition to the story. I think they really fit the character.
That's not in the book. The dance scene with Harry and Hermione, there, in Deathly Hallows. I think it's something it's very symbolic. I think it really shows their friendship, how it works. I think it's a cool scene, but I think it's cool, but keep it? I don't know if I'd want them to keep it, no. To be honest, I'd like everything to be different in the series. That they really do things differently. They said they'd leave the movies as classics and not take anything from them, you know? They'll probably reuse some elements like the exterior of Hogwarts, since there's a model, right? They used that for filming, so they might reuse it. Honestly, I'd rather everything was new. Like bring a new vision with the series, but I think that's really hard. Adriano Alves. Hi Kako, I have 2 questions. In Deathly Hallows, the Gemino curse is introduced. It multiplies objects. Is there something like that for living beings? If so, what are the side effects? I'll send my next question separately due to space.
Oh, your second question must have gone to another chit-chat. I separate questions from the same person into different scripts, so it doesn't seem like they're asking multiple times.
I'll answer one question now and save the other for another chit-chat. Your question is very interesting.
And there is no confirmation that it's possible to use this spell on a living being.
It's very complex to make a copy of something that's alive. An object is much simpler.
So, honestly, I believe it's not possible because at least I don't remember any mention of that.
Next question from Julio Cesar. Hello, Kako. Blessings to you, your family, and everyone. Thank you, my dear. Kako, the question is as follows. Harry died and was in that unique semi-death of his, right? He met Dumbledore. Is wizard heaven the same as for muggles? I can really imagine Dumbledore teaching magic in the afterlife. Hugs. Man, what a cool question. Harry doesn't actually die. He would only die if he moved on. What happens is that we could get closer to reality and say that he had a near-death experience. He stays alive because he chooses to, right? to stay alive. He could move on. He could go forward and actually die. But the afterlife is real in the Harry Potter universe, right? Life after death exists. Now, where people go, if there's a heaven, if there's a hell, what happens?
That's already a bit more complex, which requires a much deeper analysis than an episode like this. Just chatting and answering quick questions allows. But yes, the afterlife exists. Witches, after they die, they move on to the next stage of existence, which is this afterlife, life after death.
Where do they go? If there's a heaven or paradise, I don't know.
The next question is from Junior Barros. Hello, Kako. How are you? I'm good. How about you?
A wild question. Let's pick a common one instead, since Potterverse gets a lot of wild questions.
A wizard can have more than one wand loyal to them. So is it possible for a wizard to use 2 wands at once?
Like one in the right hand and one in the left hand. Postscript. It would be really cool to see that. Man, it's probably possible. Yeah.
We have an example of Harry using 3 wands at the same time to cast a spell, but 3 in one hand only, when he disarms Malfoy at the mansion, right? But with 1 in each hand, like having 2 wands yourself. Narla, the gangster goblin from Fantastic Beasts, carries a holster with 2 wands. Yes, it's possible, and it would be cool if a wizard had 2 wands. That happens in the Scarlet Weapon saga. This saga is really cool. It portrays the Brazilian wizarding world. It's inspired by Harry Potter. It takes place in the same universe as Harry Potter, but it's not officially part of Harry Potter. This is a great book series I recommend to anyone interested in reading. It features a wizard who uses 2 wands. The next question is from Iago Duarte.
Hey Kako, how are you? I'm good. Congrats on the channel. I've watched for 5 years. Great work.
Man, thank you so much. Really? Thanks. Thanks for being here all these years. My question is this. Aren't you afraid that this series, even though it's faithful to the books, might change some things to fit reality, like the character's sex or their gender, etc.?
Man, honestly, I don't. I think changes can happen. Like, we've already seen that Snape will be played by a black actor. But I believe that changing a character's sex or gender won't happen. I don't know. That's just what I think.
I think it's really hard for them to change that. Could it happen? Well, nothing is impossible, right? I don't know what's going on in those guys' heads. Maybe they want to change it. For example, adding a secondary or tertiary character and changing them. Like, in the book it was a girl, but in the movie it's a boy, or the other way around. I don't know. Anyway, I don't know. I don't know if that could happen. Honestly, I doubt it, but it doesn't worry me. I have an opinion about changes that some disagree with, and that's okay. It is, if the change doesn't affect the story for me, like, oh, they changed a character there, but it doesn't affect the story at all.
Nothing. For me, it doesn't make any difference, you know? Now, if it's a change that directly interferes, that's really, wow, it's going to change a lot. Then I think it's more complicated, you know?
I'm not afraid of that. The next question is from Heloisa Baggio. Hey Kaku, how are you? I'm good. And you? I'm vegan. And I keep wondering what it would be like for a wizard to follow veganism. What ingredients would they use in potions? They wouldn't kill an Ararumboya, right? Would they use owl mail, ride a thestral, or use animals in transfiguration?
Look, I believe that if a wizard were vegan, practicing veganism, he would follow the customs of that practice, right? Of not exploiting animals. So how would he do certain things? He would need to find a substitute, right? He would need to find a substitute.
A potion that needs ingredients that come from animals, he would have to figure out a way to make a potion that has the same results with other ingredients. Is it possible? Not possible. I can't answer that. But in theory, if a wizard practiced veganism, he'd follow those principles, right? So he wouldn't want to use or ride animals or do anything like that.
Next question is from Lucas Avalar. Good evening, Kako. Good evening, my friend. I watched the movies again and got curious.
On the occasion of the incident, why did Hermione take the blame for letting it out when she didn't have to?
No one was worried about who let it out at that moment. They were only concerned with everyone's safety.
Is it just the movie's plot? No, man, Hermione really does take the blame. Why?
Harry and Ron search for her because she was crying after overhearing Ron's rude comments.
So I think she wanted to cut them some slack, you know, because come on, they went there to save her. They actually went there to save her. So she lied saying that she thought she could face the troll. She doesn't say she let the troll loose. She just says she went after it to face it because she thought she could handle it.
And that the boys helped her. So in the end, she just wanted to get them off the hook. She didn't want to say she was there crying, that she was upset because Ron had been kind of rude to her.
Honestly, I don't think it makes much sense because if she told the truth, I don't think it would be a big problem. But even so, she decided to go with that story. Next question from Mark H. Hey Kako, how's it going? I'm good, you. Believe it or not,
When I took the Patronus test on Pottermore, mine was a thestral, and I wanted to know if, for people to see my Patronus, they would have to witness death, like to see a real thestral.
Postscript. There was a character limit, but did you get to ask your question? No problem. People just need to visit the website to see your Patronus. Just kidding.
In this context, I don't think so. The Patronus would be seen. It would be cool if it could, though. It would be really cool if people, wow, only those who have seen death would be able to see the Patronus's form, just like with the real thestral, but I don't think so. I don't think it has anything to do with it. And last but not least, the question from Marlon CSG. Hey Kako, how's it going? I'm good. How about you, my friend? Knowing the Deathly Hallows were created by the Peveril brothers makes the tale just a nice story. Would it be possible for a very talented wizard craftsman who has seen someone die to create a second Elder Wand? Shout out to all the Hufflepuffs. What a cool, interesting question. Yeah, we have the story of the tale of the three brothers, which really is a legend. There wasn't actually the personification of death giving anything to anyone. That's just a story for children. The Peveril brothers existed and inspired the story, right? They actually created the Hallows. So, looking at it that way, I believe that someone probably does have the ability to make a second Elder Wand.
But I see these items a lot. Like, for example, the Philosopher's Stone.
Many alchemists tried, but only Nicholas Flamel succeeded. Cadmus created the Resurrection Stone. Others have tried to revive people, but the stone didn't actually do that. Still, it was the closest anyone came. So, these are items that are deeply imbued with the experiences of the wizards who created them. Grigorovich even tries to replicate it, to recreate the Elder Wand, right? To make copies of it. But he can't. I'm not sure if the wand's power comes only from that unique and unusual combination of wood and core.
Because wizards artisans avoided making wands out of elder wood because they believed it was a wood that brought bad luck, that brought misfortune.
And there was also the thing about the thestral, about it being an omen, about having that superstition that they were no good. Whoever sees a thestral,
wow, their days were limited. Grigorovich even says this in class when introducing the thestrals, calling them lovely creatures.
Because the girls Parvati and Lila Brown, who were all crazy about divination, would go, oh my god, it's an omen, it's a bad omen.
So, I don't know if this unusual power comes only from the combination of these two things that no one had tried before, or if there's another secret.
If there's something else in its creation, because Grigorovich, he tries to make this replica and he's not successful.
Now, he's a talented wand maker, a wand maker who really understands the craft.
Did he not recognize the Elder Wand's core? How would you even identify a core?
You'd need to look inside the wand. Is there a way to do this without damaging it? Or can he tell just by holding it?
Because Ollivander, right? He says, this one has a phoenix feather, etc.
This one has unicorn hair. This one has dragon heartstring. He feels every wand he made. But Grigorovich, he doesn't have just 3 cores. He had more different cores. Could he recognize it? Had he ever seen a thestral? Did he know what a thestral was? All these questions come up, you know? Maybe he couldn't replicate it because he never identified the wand's core. That raises big questions, you know? Would anyone be able to make a new wand then?
I think, like the Philosopher's Stone that many tried to create but only one did, the Elder Wand also has a secret we've never uncovered. But that's it, my wizards. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you liked it, don't forget to leave your like and your comment.
It will be very welcome here.